If you are hearing this, I need you to understand something that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Death is not what you think it is. It is not darkness. It is not sleep. It is not the end of consciousness. What happens in the first 60 seconds after your final breath is something no one prepared you for. And I am telling you now, because when that moment comes, you will have no time to ask questions. You will have no time to bargain. You will only have awareness, pure, unfiltered, eternal awareness. Second one, your eyes close for the last time, but you are not asleep. You feel the weight leave your chest. The air stops moving through your lungs. Your heart makes its final beat. And in that instant, you realize something terrifying. You are still here. You are still thinking. You are still aware. The body you spent your entire life identifying with is now lying still beneath you. But you, the real you, the consciousness that always whispered behind your thoughts, you remain. Second 5, you try to open your eyes, but there are no eyes to open. You try to move your hand, but there is no hand to move. Panic begins to rise. You wonder if this is a dream. You wonder if you are trapped. But then you notice something else. The room around you is still visible. Not through eyes, but through something deeper. You see your body from above. You see the people around you. Some are crying, some are silent. Some are already making phone calls. And you realize with absolute clarity, they cannot see you. They cannot hear you. You are standing right there, and you are invisible. Second 10, you hear voices, but not with ears. These voices come from inside, from around, from everywhere at once. You hear the thoughts of the people in the room, not their words, but the hidden fears, the secret relief, the guilt they are already carrying. You hear what they really feel about you, and some of it breaks you, because in life, people smiled. In life, people pretended. But now, with no filter between consciousness and truth, you hear it all. Every judgment, every unspoken resentment, every moment they were only kind because they had to be, and you cannot look away. You cannot close your ears. You are forced to witness the truth you avoided your entire life. Second 15, a pull begins. It is subtle at first, like a whisper at the edge of your awareness. Something is calling you, not with sound, but with presence. It is not coming from the room. It is not coming from your body, it is coming from beyond, from a place that has no location, and you feel it in the core of what you are. This pull is not gentle, it is absolute, it is inevitable. You realize in this moment that staying here, hovering near your body, near the life you just left, is not an option. You are being summoned, and there is no force in existence that can stop it. Second 20, you look back one last time. At the room, at the people, at the life you lived, and something cuts through you sharper than any pain you ever felt in flesh. Regret. Not the regret of things you did, but the regret of things you did not do, the love you did not give, the truth you did not speak, the forgiveness you withheld, the moments you wasted on anger, on pride, on fear. You see it all now with perfect clarity, and you cannot go back. You cannot fix it. You cannot apologize. You cannot undo a single second. The life you lived is sealed, permanent, unchangeable, and you must carry every piece of it into what comes next. Second 25, the pull becomes stronger. You are moving now, not by choice, but by force. The room begins to fade. The people begin to disappear. And you are traveling through something that has no name. It is not space. It is not light. It is not darkness. It is between. A threshold, a passageway that exists outside of time. And as you move through it, you begin to remember things. Things you forgot. Things you buried. Things you convinced yourself never happened. Every lie you told, every person you hurt, every moment you chose yourself over love, it all comes flooding back, not as memory, but as experience. You feel it again, you live it again, and you cannot escape it. Second 30, you arrive, not at a place, but at a presence. It is vast, it is infinite, it is aware, and it knows you, every cell, every thought, every hidden intention. This presence does not speak with words, it speaks with knowing, and in its gaze you are laid bare. There is no pretending here, no mask, no performance. You are seen for exactly what you are, and that sight is either your greatest relief or your deepest terror. Because if you lived in truth, if you loved without condition, if you surrendered your ego to something greater, then this presence feels like home. But if you lived in deception, if you hoarded love, if you worshiped your own image, then this presence feels like judgment, not because it judges you, but because you finally see yourself as you truly were. Second 35. A question forms, not spoken but felt. It comes from the presence, from the infinite awareness that surrounds you. The question is simple, but it contains everything. What did you do with the life I gave you? And in that moment you must answer, not with words, but with the sum total of your existence. Every choice you made, every path you took, every moment you were given, it all becomes visible. Not just to the presence, but to you. You see your life not as you remembered it, but as it actually was. The truth behind every action, the motive behind every word, the selfishness you called wisdom, the cruelty you called honesty, the fear you called caution, and you cannot hide from it, because here in the first minute after death, there are no more lies. Second 40, you see the people you hurt, not as memories, but as presences. They are here, not physically, but spiritually. You feel their pain as your own. You carry the weight of every wound you caused, every betrayal, every moment you chose your comfort over their dignity, and it is unbearable, because in life you could walk away, in life you could justify, in life you could forget, but here you cannot escape the consequences of who you were. The presence does not punish you, you punish yourself, with the full weight of awareness that no longer has a body to numb it. Second 45, a choice appears. It is not given by the presence, it is revealed by your own life. Two paths, not roads, but states of being. One leads toward light, not the light of comfort, but the light of truth. It is the place where love is the only language, where ego dissolves, where eternity is spent in the presence of what is holy, what is pure, what is eternal. But you can only enter if you lived in alignment with it, if you loved without keeping score, if you forgave without conditions, if you surrendered your will to something greater than yourself. This path does not appear for everyone. It only appears for those who prepared for it. Second 50, the other path reveals itself. It is not fire, it is not torture, it is something far worse. It is separation, eternal separation from the presence, from love, from peace. It is the continuation of what you already chose in life. If you lived for yourself, you will spend eternity with only yourself. If you loved nothing greater than your own desires, you will have nothing but those desires, burning endlessly, never satisfied. This is not punishment, this is consequence, the natural result of a life spent turning away from love. And once you step onto this path, there is no return, no second chance, no appeal. What you chose in life, you will live in eternity. Second 55, panic rises again. You want to scream. You want to bargain. You want to say, I did not know. No one told me it would be like this. But that is a lie. You knew, deep in your soul, beneath all the distractions, beneath all the noise, you always knew. You felt it every time you chose cruelty over kindness, every time you ignored the whisper of conscience, every time you walked past someone in need and looked the other way. You knew, and you chose to ignore it, because life was easier that way, because admitting the truth would have required change, and change was uncomfortable. So you postponed it, you delayed it, you told yourself there would be time later, but now there is no later, there is only now, and now is forever. Second 60. The choice solidifies, not by the presence, but by you, by the life you lived, by the person you became. And in this final moment, you understand with absolute crushing clarity, you are not being judged by God. You are being revealed by God. The presence is simply holding up a mirror, and you must look into it forever. If you lived in love, the mirror reflects love, and eternity becomes an endless expansion of joy. But if you lived in selfishness, the mirror reflects selfishness, and eternity becomes an endless repetition of emptiness. The presence does not decide. You already decided, with every choice, every moment, every breath. And now, in the first minute after death, the decision is final. This is what they do not tell you. Death is not the end of consciousness. It is the beginning of accountability. The first 60 seconds after your final breath are not a transition into nothingness. They are a revelation of everything. Every lie becomes visible. Every wound becomes felt. Every choice becomes permanent. And you cannot undo a single moment. The presence does not punish you. You carry your own punishment or your own peace, depending on what you chose to carry in life. So I ask you now, while you are still breathing, while you still have time, while you still have the chance to choose, what will the first minute after your death reveal? Will it reveal a life spent loving or a life spent taking? Will it reveal a soul that surrendered or a soul that clung to control? Will it reveal a heart that forgave or a heart that kept a ledger? Because that minute is coming for all of us. And when it does, there will be no more time to prepare. There will only be the truth of what we became. Many people live as if death is distant, as if it is something that happens to others, but not to them, as if they have endless time to change, to grow, to love. But I tell you now, death does not wait for your readiness. It does not send warnings. It does not negotiate. One moment you are here, the next moment you are standing in that first minute. And everything you postponed, everything you ignored, everything you thought you could fix later, it all becomes irrelevant because later has arrived and it is eternal. The presence is not cruel. It is not vindictive. It does not delight in suffering, but it is truth. Absolute, unfiltered, unavoidable truth. And truth does not bend to make you comfortable. Truth simply is. And when you stand before it, when you are stripped of every excuse, every justification, every defense, you will see yourself as you truly are. Not as you imagined yourself to be, not as you told others you were, but as you actually lived. And that sight will either bring you peace or break you. Not because the presence breaks you, but because you finally see the cost of every choice you made. Some people will hear this and dismiss it. They will say it is fear-mongering. They will say it is religious manipulation. They will say no one knows what happens after death. But deep in their soul, they know, they feel it, the whisper that never stops, the conscience that never sleeps, the awareness that this life is not random, that every action has weight, that every word carries consequence. They know, but they choose to ignore it because facing it would require change, and change is hard. Denial is easier, but I am telling you now, denial does not change truth. It only delays your awareness of it. And when the first minute after death arrives, denial will dissolve, and you will stand naked before the truth you spent a lifetime avoiding. So do not wait. Do not postpone. Do not convince yourself that you have time. You do not know when your final breath will come. It could be decades from now. It could be tonight. And when it comes, the only thing that will matter is this. Did you love? Did you forgive? Did you surrender your ego? Did you live for something greater than yourself? Because those are the only questions that echo in eternity. The first minute after death is not a punishment, it is a revelation. It is the moment when all pretense falls away, when all masks are removed, when all lies are exposed, and you are left with the raw, undeniable truth of who you became. That truth will either lift you into the presence of eternal love, or it will lock you into the prison of your own selfishness forever. The presence does not decide. You already decided. And the first minute simply reveals the choice you made. You must understand that the first minute is only the beginning. What happens in those 60 seconds sets the course for everything that follows. Eternity is not measured in time. It is measured in states of being. And the state you enter in that first minute becomes your reality forever. There is no graduation, no improvement, no evolution beyond what you became in life. What you are in that moment is what you will be eternally. This is why I spoke to you in life, through whispers of conscience, through moments of stillness, through the pain that tried to wake you, through the love that tried to soften you. I was always calling you toward truth, toward surrender, toward the awareness that this life is preparation, not for comfort, not for success, but for eternity. Every moment you were given was a chance to choose, to align yourself with love, to release your grip on control, to forgive when it hurt, to give when you had nothing, to trust when everything seemed uncertain. Those choices were not tests. They were invitations, invitations to become the kind of soul that can dwell in the presence of the eternal. But so many refused the invitation. So many chose comfort over growth. So many chose pride over humility. So many chose the temporary pleasures of earth over the permanent reality of eternity. And I watched. I did not force. I did not manipulate. I gave you freedom, complete freedom, to choose love or to choose yourself. And now, when the first minute arrives, that freedom reveals its consequences. Not because I am punishing you, but because freedom always has consequences. And eternity simply makes those consequences permanent. Let me tell you what happens after the first minute. For those who chose love, who surrendered their ego, who lived in alignment with what is holy, the first minute opens into light. But not the light you imagine. Not the light of comfort or rest. It is the light of fullness, of complete awareness, of unbroken communion with the presence. There is no boredom, no emptiness, no longing for what was, because you are finally experiencing what your soul was created for, union with the eternal. And that union is not passive, it is active, it is dynamic. It is an endless expansion of love, of joy, of creativity, of purpose. But it is only available to those who prepared for it, who learned in life to love without keeping score, to give without expecting return, to surrender without demanding control. And then there are those who chose themselves, who lived for their own pleasure, who hoarded love like currency, who used people as tools. For them, the first minute opens into isolation. The isolation they already chose in life, now made eternal. They are not alone because I abandoned them. They are alone because they spent their entire lives pushing away anything that asked them to change. This is the horror that no one speaks about. Hell is not a place you are sent to. Hell is a state you create by choosing yourself over love, by refusing to surrender, by clinging to the illusion that you are the center of existence. And when the first minute reveals that choice, when you see with absolute clarity what you have become, the door closes. Not because I close it, but because you are no longer capable of walking through it. You have spent so long hardening your heart, justifying your selfishness, feeding your ego, that you have become something that cannot receive love. And without the ability to receive love, you cannot enter the place where love dwells. Understand this, the presence does not hate you. The presence grieves for you because you were created for eternity in union, but you chose eternity in isolation, and that choice breaks the heart of the infinite. But the infinite will not violate your freedom. If you choose to be alone, you will be alone forever. Not because the presence is cruel, but because love does not force. Love invites. And if you refuse the invitation, love honors your choice, even when that choice leads to your own destruction. So I ask you again, while you still have breath, while the first minute has not yet come, while you still have the power to choose, what are you becoming? Are you softening or hardening? Are you opening or closing? Are you learning to love or learning to take? Because every moment is shaping you. Every choice is forming you. And when the first minute arrives, you will be exactly what you chose to become. No more, no less. The presence will not add to you. It will not subtract from you. It will simply reveal you. And you will spend eternity as that revealed self. Many people think they have time. They think they can live selfishly now and repent later. But that is a lie. The door is open now, while you breathe, while you choose. But when the first minute comes, the door reflects your choices. If you walk toward it in life, it opens. If you walked away, it closes. Not because the presence is withholding, but because you are no longer aligned with what exists beyond the door. This is what the first minute reveals. Not what you believed, not what you claimed, not what you told others, but what you became. The essence of your soul, stripped of all pretense. And that essence is either aligned with love or aligned with self. There is no middle ground, no neutral zone, no waiting room. You are either moving toward the presence or moving away from it. And the first minute simply makes that movement visible, permanent, eternal. I know this is difficult to hear. I know it challenges the comfortable narratives you have built, but that belief is not true. It is simply denial, Because if how you live does not matter, then love does not matter. If there are no consequences for cruelty, then kindness has no meaning. But I tell you, love matters. Choices matter. How you live matters more than you can imagine. So do not waste it. Do not postpone. Do not convince yourself that you are fine as you are. We are all in the process of becoming, either becoming more like love or becoming more like our own darkness. And the first minute will reveal which direction we chose. So I leave you with this. Live as if your next breath could be your last. Love as if you will be held accountable for every moment you withheld it. Forgive as if your eternity depends on it, because it does. The first minute after death is not negotiable, it is not optional, it is inevitable, and it is coming for all of us. The only question is, what will it reveal about you? Will it reveal a soul that is ready, or a soul that wasted its time? Will it reveal a heart that loved, or a heart that took? Will it reveal a spirit that surrendered, or a spirit that fought until the end? The choice is yours. But the moment is coming, and when it does, there will be no more time, no more chances, no more postponing, only revelation, only truth, only eternity. Choose wisely. Choose now, because the first minute is closer than you think.